What do you think? Let's give us your thoughts on Draghi ahead of this testimony on the back of the LTRO story last week. QE more likely?
I think the markets will look at it this way, but if we look at the debate which came out of Cairns over the weekend in the G20, there now seems to be a switch towards fiscal policy. I think, the key part of Jackson Hole's speech was, okay, the ECB will do what it needs to do and it's fully committed, but that there are other areas such as structural reform, and indeed this whole idea floated by Draghi that you can have, the growth-oriented fiscal austerity, the idea of you cut some spending here, you boost some spending somewhere else, and it's going to work. And I think fiscal policy will be now the next issue.
And of course, we've got the Eurozone PMIs tomorrow as well. How do you think that's going to play into it? Do you think we're going to see more pressure on Draghi?
I think we'll get some more pressure, but I think what we have to remember is this week in Europe we're going to get the first set of the ESA 2010 results. We know for the UK that's increased the level of GDP growth. Suddenly, if you're an Italian government, at around 10 o'clock today you're going to be told that your output level is a little bit higher, so your deficit and your debt as a proportion of GDP are going to be lower, and that's where the fiscal space from Europe is going to come from.
All right. French PM Valls meets Merkel today. I mean, it seems very much that the French and German visions for Europe are clashing more and more. How's this one going to play out, and how do you think the market should take it?
Well, I think actually by switching again policies, Hollande has made a rapprochement with Merkel perhaps more likely. It's interesting though that he's selling Valls, who's seen in French circles as far more right-wing than anybody else in indeed Hollande's cabinet. Yes, there is some common ground, but remember the German government still don't want to invest in infrastructure, even though arguably Germany is crying out for it. So I think the French again will push on fiscal adjustment, will push on investment, this idea to postpone debt and deficits. They'll get some pushback for the Germans, but maybe this whole infrastructure initiative launched by Australian PM Abbott at the G20 might get some traction in Europe.